there is a very powerful, very um, entertaining, if I can say that, and entertaining in the sense of it's a very strongly made film that's being released this weekend called I Don't Know Who You Are. I'm very excited to be talking with not only the one of the writers of it, but also the main star, Mark Clennon. Mark, how are you today?
I'm really good. I'm very excited to be here.
I am thrilled to have you here. So I had the pleasure of seeing this movie last September, a couple of days before the Toronto International Film Festival even started, and I was blown away with this film. So we're going to have a chance to talk about it. But before we do, I'm going to turn it over to you. Would you tell the good people what I Don't Know Who You Are is all about?
Absolutely. I Don't Know Who You Are is a story about a young musician living in Toronto named Benjamin, who I play. And he is, a very resourceful musician. He teaches, he performs. And over the course of a weekend, he is the victim of a traumatic event without giving too much away. And the film follows him as he tries to recover and tries to find resources and get what he needs to heal from that experience. And yeah, it's riveting. It's over the course of a weekend, so everything's kind of jam packed in a short period of time. But yeah, I'm sure I left a few things out, but that's the main gist of it.
No, no, that's fine. That's fine. One of the things I have to say, and we live in a world where sometimes one person can't say to another person, man can't say to another man, I'm very proud of you. And I don't in any way mean this in a condescending way. I was so incredibly proud of you when I had the opportunity of seeing the premiere, a video of the premiere at TIFF. Because like I said, I had the chance of seeing it here at my home. And so I wasn't there for the premiere, but seeing the amount of love that you got coming out to the TIFF audience who had just seen the film. And I think that was so wonderfully deserved because we're in a world right now where a lot of times people are seeing movies, theater, at home, wherever, and the filmmakers don't get that love. And I'm thinking if there was ever somebody who needed to get the accolades, especially for a first time feature film, it was you. So I was extremely proud of you in that moment. I think this is such a powerful film that you've been that you're a part of here.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we look at I Don't Know Who You Are, of course, you were one of the writers on it. And forgive me, I'm going to read this because I don't want to leave anybody out. Victoria Long and M.H. Murray were the other writers on this film. Where did the inspiration for this come from?
Well, M.H. Murray wrote it mostly in its entirety, and Victoria Long and I kind of came in at the later end to help edit and adjust a few things. But this is his story that we were just invited in to amend a bit. But unfortunately, this is a story derived of a real experience. And so we were trying to find a way to tell it in an authentic and honest way, but also, make it engaging and make it meaningful. But yeah, it comes from a real event, unfortunately.
Mhm. Now, with this film, there's been a lot of attention put towards yourself. Was there not an award, a distinction that the good people of TIFF, designated you with? Was there not something that the good people of TIFF said about you, Mr. Mark Glennon?
I can't think of anything offhand that I'm kidding. Yeah, yeah, I was really blessed to have that. I remember when I was at work and Matt MH Murray texted me and he was like, "Oh my God, you're Rising Star." And I remember having I had like an out of body experience where I was like, did he mean to text me? Was that like for me? But yeah, it's been really cool to have that and to have the film come out at these festivals and get the kind of support that it has. We take that for granted sometimes, but that doesn't often happen. It doesn't have to happen. You could do the best movie and try your hardest and no one will see it or invite you to a festival. So I'm just really grateful for all of that. And I'm grateful for it to be out today so that people can finally see it because I've had so many friends over the months be like, "Oh, I heard about this and I want to see it, but I can't." And so it's just really cool to have it finally come out.
No, absolutely. So, of course, the TIFF Rising Star Award is one of the more prestigious awards that the Toronto International Film Festival awards at the festival, and this is where they showcase emerging talent. That it's basically keep your eye on these people because they're going somewhere. And people have won this Award have gone on, as I'm sure you will, to have very, very strong careers. Now, you mentioned in terms of the time for the film to come out. I mean, distribution is always an interesting thing, right? But one of the things that I'm excited about this is that your film is also getting theatrical distribution. So it's going to be playing in theaters, which is fantastic. Not that there's anything wrong with the video market, but I think there's something very special about seeing, something that you and the team work so hard on, being able to see that on the big screen. What was that experience like for you, seeing the film on the big screen and experiencing that?
Honestly, very surreal. The first time I saw it on the big screen was actually at TIFF for the premiere last year, and I didn't really know what to expect because I had seen the film before, so I knew how the film, I was in it, so I knew how it went, but I didn't really know what to expect in terms of audience reception and how people would feel. And it was this weirdly visceral feeling sitting in the room and hearing gasps and laughter and crying and just really raw emotion. And it's a very surreal experience that I can't really explain, but it felt really cool to see people react so strongly in real time and just to hear, when I was doing things on camera that were probably frustrating, people were like, stop, like, don't do that. And that just felt really cool to see people really engaged. But there's nothing like seeing a film in theaters when you're in a room full of that energy. And, seeing it at home on a big screen or on a laptop is great, but it's just very unique to see it in a theater where you're forced to be engaged, your phone is off, you're feeling the energy of other people around you. And I'm excited about that tonight because tonight is technically the first time I'm seeing it. I mean, I've seen it at other festivals. This is the first time I'm seeing it with like the general public, non-festival screening. So I'm very excited about that tonight.
Excellent. Well, I hope you have a great experience there as well. I'm sure you will. One of the things that I think about, that I love about this movie is that, and I want to get you to speak to it, is that a lot of times we look at films, and obviously there is going to be the big blockbuster movies that cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make. This film is the perfect example of what you need is a good story and good acting. And it doesn't mean that we skimp on the cinematography and the score and those other things, because obviously those are very prevalent in the film. With your musical background, you give us a bit of a taste of that in this film as well. But I think at its core, we're getting great acting and a very, very strong story. So I think this movie is just one of those films that just speaks to why independent film is so important. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think there's a place for everything. There are people who want to see buildings exploding and giant CGI, but there's also a place for stories like this that are able to tell a more intimate story and do something different. And you know, I it was only after making this movie and going to other festivals and meeting other filmmakers that I realized that that was a small budget. Because when we were filming, there were definitely limitations, and we didn't have a lot of money. But for me, I was like, this is great. We get to tell the story. We have, camera. We have all the things that we need, and it's all subjective. There are people who think that a $10 million budget is a small film. You know what I mean? Whereas for us, that's like an insane amount of money. So it's all relative, but I would rather see authentic stories with a smaller budget that are told by, people who are telling meaningful stories than $100 million film. It doesn't mean that it's not. Obviously those are still epic in their own way, but I think there's a space in the film industry for more stories that are, I don't want to say small budget, but just smaller in scale, so that you can really focus on the heart of the film as opposed to, you know, like I think with our film we didn't have the luxury of CGI or any other things to make the film more thrilling. So it had to be just the performances and the direction and the cinematography. Like there was no, sometimes you watch a movie and there's just so much happening that you're just really engaged. And I feel like one of the challenges of a movie like this is you just have to really bring your A game, because if you just point a camera at someone in a kitchen for 5 minutes, it may not be interesting. So I think that movies like this force the filmmakers to to go there and to be engaging. So I definitely encourage that, and I would like to see more films like that.
hmm Now, one of the things that's so impressive about you is someone is like myself. So, people are going to see this movie, then they're going to be captivated by your performance because whether it was the emotion you conveyed on screen or the fact that you're taking the audience on this emotional journey with you, they're going to see this, they're going to experience this. Mark Clennon, then they're going to go to your IMDb and they're going to say, "Wait, what? This is his first feature? Where did all of this come from?" Because I am blown away. The amount of emotion that people are going to experience in this film, coupled with the fact that you're taking us on such an incredible journey. Your acting is stronger beyond your IMDb resume, if you will. So I guess two-parter. Number one, where did that come from? And number two, how in the world did you unwind or kind of like bring it back to normal when it wrapped at the end of the day?
Um, yeah, honestly, the I'll answer the second question first. The end of the day was really interesting because so many of the days we would just go for it and do what needed to be done, and then afterwards, I would just like I would just sit there for like, like I would sit on my couch like a zombie. And yeah, they're definitely this. I feel like this film was really fun, but it was also very challenging emotionally, and it required a fair bit of isolation and just, time to regroup. But honestly, I think one of the things about me as an actor is I feel very like I think of myself as just like a big kid who, when you're a child and you're just like make believe and you're not worried about what people are thinking or you're not thinking anything, you're just make believe and you're pretending that you're a dinosaur or whatever. I feel like a lot of like I just kind of am that person. I usually annoy my friends because whenever we go out or we do anything, I'm like, okay, guys, let's play a game. Like I'm always that goofy person who's making up scenarios with my friends. The other day we went out for dinner with my friends and there were four of us and I was like, okay, guys, here's a scenario. You're both having an affair, and I just made up this like story. And I think that's a huge part of this film is we just created a space where we could all just play, make believe, and get into it. And as an actor, for me, having that safe space where I felt supported and felt like when I did something, no one was like, why did you do that? That's so stupid. That really helps to bring out the best performance. And yeah, but again, I think the script is well written and the team really just brought their A game, which made it easy for me to show up and do my thing.
Amazing, amazing. Now, listen again. I always want to be respectful of time. I'm going to ask you one question, and then we're going to do a quick round of rapid fire. What is your hope for people when they see this movie? What do you want people to get out of I Don't Know Who You Are?
I would like for people to use this film as an opportunity to learn about the world and be more compassionate. This is a really cool story, sorry, a really interesting story about someone going through something really traumatic and trying their best and doing the best. And this is existing all around us. Everywhere you go, there are people who are going through a hard time for various reasons. And I think seeing it on the big screen hopefully could elicit a bit of compassion from people, whether you know what I'm going through or whether I know what you're going through, that we can just try to be kinder to each other. I also hope that it's informative. There's a lot of things that I learned through making this movie that I didn't know about the healthcare system and about, steps to take if these events were to happen. And, I hope that it is entertaining and great and that, but I also hope that it making this film will hopefully alleviate or mitigate the chances that people will go through these circumstances, whether it's being able to afford the medication, whether it's being in that situation in the first place. So I just hope that this film, on top of entertaining and helping people, I just hope that it can educate and inform.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Like I said, we want to drift on a little thing I like to call rapid fire. This is meant to be fun. Any first thing that comes to your mind, spit it out. Except I will tell you this first question, I always let people give me a top three because it is a difficult one. What is your favorite movie of all time?
We need a whole other show for that. Favorite movie of all time, if I had to pick one, um, is going to be okay. It's going to be a cheesy answer, and don't roast me, but V for Vendetta.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There was a
Have you seen it?
of course I've seen it. November
Okay.
the 5th. Remember the 5th of November.
Yeah.
Love that movie. Solid pick. Um, I remember there was a time where I was like, I need to remember that. I need to memorize the V speech. It's a fantastic movie. So that's a great choice. Let me ask you a question. So my background, I'm born here, but my parts come from Trinidad. Where about yourself?
Jamaican. I was born and raised in Jamaica.
Okay, so technically, people would say that we're not supposed to get along because of the rivalry. But I will ask you, will you not agree that roti, Trinidadian roti, is like the best food on the planet? Just go ahead and agree with that. We can move on to the next question. Go ahead.
Given that it's your show and I don't want to offend you, I will agree. But um, as a staunch Jamaican, I will. I'm kidding. No, I love roti. I love roti. Actually,
Yeah,
I was in Jamaica last week and I had roti. Like they made like roti with ackee, which is a you never
really.
combine those two things. It's very rare,
Okay.
and it was unbelievable. So I think if we can collaborate somehow, like the Jamaicans and the Trinis, we might be able to.
Can you imagine what that menu would look like? Oh, I'd be disgustingly amazing. All right. Next question for you. After filming this movie, are there times when you're walking alone in downtown Toronto and you're a little more cautious than you would normally be?
Uh, I think this movie has made me a lot more aware of a lot of things, and it's definitely opened my eyes to, yeah, for sure. I generally do feel safe in Toronto as a whole, but there are definitely moments where, like you said, late at night or, certain streets where you kind of have a caution. But yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah, but let's lighten things up a little bit. As your character is exploring the late night scene in Toronto, where is a place in Toronto if you're looking for a good late night bite that somebody should that some a place that somebody should go to? What would you recommend?
416 Snack Bar at Bathurst and Queen is I mean, not mine, Benjamin's go-to spot because it's affordable. It is, it's great food, great options, and there are like small bite-size bits. You can have a little bit if you're not that hungry. You can have a lot if you're really hungry. That's my go-to. Unfortunately, Toronto, when you take late night, like 1:30, there's not a crazy amount of options, but I would say 416 Snack Bar would be my go-to. Otherwise, if I want something like really fast and easy, maybe Burger Priest. Or yeah, I'd say maybe like Burger Priest.
Amazing. I love like the stopwatch on that. You just came out with that one like you were ready for that question. Okay. We will end with this because I know you've got a crazy agenda today. What is the advice that you would give to emerging writers, emerging actors, emerging filmmakers?
Um, so much, yes. There have been so many lessons I've learned over the years as an artist that I would definitely pass on. I think one of the main ones is just you kind of have to be delusionally confident in yourself because unfortunately this industry and this planet is, it's not always easy, especially in entertainment. There's a lot of rejection, a lot of adversity. For every audition that an actor goes, they might go on like 25 and book one job. And, I think you kind of have to be someone that is just very confident and determined and believes in yourself despite all of the adversity. And I think that is so, like, you have to build yourself up so much. And I think just to sort of counter some of the challenges. And I also think that, just remember why you're doing what you're doing. Why did you want to become a writer? Why did you want to become an actor or a singer? And kind of bring it back to that whenever you're having challenging moments or just whenever you can. Because I think for me, when I think about why I do what I do, it helps to motivate me and it helps to drive me through, you know, anything. And yeah, I think if I were being rational about my life, I probably wouldn't have been an artist because I would have had like a house and like, I would have had 401ks or whatever people have. But because I'm so motivated by why I do what I do, I am here. So I think that's a good thing to think about as an artist, when you are coming up, and just also surround yourself with people who are supportive and, who respect your work and see you and want to help you and people who you can help. I think that for me has been incredible because I've definitely had phases in my life where I've had people who are like, why are you doing that? That's so stupid. And, as confident as I am, things like that really sort of chip away at your self-esteem and you're like, oh, maybe I am stupid or not stupid, but maybe I'm not good enough. So just surrounding yourself with people who are supportive is very important.
Yeah, I can't say that I know you very well, but I know talent when I see it, and you, my friend, are extremely talented. And I'm very excited for you for this film. I'm excited for people to obviously have the chance to see it and experience it. But I got to tell you, and I don't want to bypass this movie because it should not be bypassed. I'm also excited to see what you do next. So I wish you nothing but the best. Of course, we've been chatting with Mark Clennon, one of the writers, the breakout star, the rising star. I'm calling you the breakout star of I Don't Know Who You Are. Fantastic, fantastic film that just luckily happens to be Canadian. So I hope people get the chance to go and check it out. Mark, it's been an absolute, absolute pleasure chatting with you. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure.